Hi everyone, and welcome to Our Ventura TV. I'm your host, Sandra Siepak. On today's show, our guest is Jill Santos. She is the Ventura County Branch Manager of Food Forward here in Ventura County, and we would like to welcome you to the show. Thank you so much, Jill, for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
What an incredible story for the Food Forward story. Let's hear more about it.
Certainly. So Food Forward is an award-winning nonprofit organization that was started in 2009 by our founder and executive director, Rick Naimis. Essentially, what we do is we recover fresh produce from people's backyards, farms, farmers markets, wholesale, orchards, and then we donate this produce to hunger relief, community support organizations in our community.
Okay.
He started in 2009, literally this was after the market crash, and was walking around in his neighborhood and noticing this abundance of fresh produce that's like literally in our backyards. And also noticing that there is this disconnect between people who need fresh produce. And he just had an idea. He hosted an event, advertised it on Craigslist, and they were able to recover about 800 pounds from one backyard. The idea clicked and it just grew and grew and grew from there.
It really took off. Wow. Wonderful. So from that, now you've become this really substantial organization that serves so many good people out here that really need it. Let's talk about some of that that you do. 50 million pounds of food since 2009, incredible amount.
Yeah.
And you're still going strong.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to wrap your brain around what does 50 million pounds actually look like. At any given harvest or backyard harvest event or farmers market event, we're recovering, thousands of pounds that are going out to various agencies, and those agencies are distributing to their clientele. So on a week-to-week basis, on a month-to-month basis, we're recovering over 1 million pounds a month right now in all of our programs. That includes Los Angeles County, Ventura County, and Santa Barbara County.
Wonderful. Can you explain to viewers what is food justice? I was intrigued by that, so maybe you can tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, we talk a lot about food justice in Food Forward. All of the staff members that work for Food Forward are passionate about this idea of what is food justice, and we believe strongly that everybody, like the right to fresh available produce is a human right, and it should be something that everybody has access to. When you look at our food system globally, it's very inefficient. Households in America on average waste about 40% of the food that they purchase. And that's an economic and environmental loss that we're looking at. And if you think about it, if we're wasting that much in our homes, what are grocery stores and restaurants and even industrial large-sized farms, what are they wasting? So this idea that we're trying to recover fresh produce that's completely edible, beautiful, wonderful, sometimes organic produce, and giving it to those most in need in our community just makes a lot of sense.
How is it distributed?
A variety of ways. So for backyard harvest, for instance, we're volunteer powered. That's another incredible thing about our organization. So we're out and we have staff that coordinate these events. Volunteers are picking the fruit, and then it's boxed up in boxes that are donated to us from International Paper, a company here in Camarillo. And then we have connections with receiving agencies. For instance, we work with about 60 receiving agencies in Ventura County, but organizationally we serve over 300 agencies in Southern California. So that fruit or produce in many cases stays within a 5 to 10 mile radius. That's especially true of our farmers market program. At the end of the market where the volunteers are gleaning that produce, it will stay kind of within the neighborhood. But in the case of our wholesale program, some of that produce can be going as far away as Las Vegas or San Diego.
It takes a lot of people, I would imagine, to get this whole program up and running, working considerably throughout a whole week's time to, from actually getting the fruit, getting the food, and then boxing it up, donating it. As you mentioned, volunteers are very, very important. So let's talk about that and how you get volunteers, and if someone is interested, how do they go about doing that?
Certainly. So we do have a staff of 24 employees between Los Angeles and Ventura County. So in any given month, we have lots of interns, student interns that are coming from a variety of universities that help coordinate a lot of the events. And then the key piece to our model is that we have event leaders, people who are trained to take a leadership role in our organization. We call them pick leaders on the backyard harvest side and glean team leaders on the farmers market side. And they go through quite an extensive training, about 2 hours in the office, and then several field trainings for them to learn about properly, how to pick fruit, how to be safe in the field, and also how to tell the story about food forward. And so this is a great opportunity to get some leadership skills if you're young and you want to get involved.
Sure.
Community service hours, we have a lot of students who come out and get their community service hours done with us. And then on average, we host about 200 events a month, and we're staffing those. We have over 6,000 volunteers that come and work with us in a year's period. So I think just our statistics, in this last year, we had 9,500 people that were volunteering at events, coming out, again, all throughout the 3 counties and getting involved in the variety of programs.
All ages?
All ages. So in our Backyard Harvest program, you can come out as young as 5 years old, but of course you have to be accompanied with your adult.
Right.
And in the Farmers Market program, we request that you be 12 years old and older. Now, if you want to be an event leader, we ask that you be 18 years or older. And it's a great family event. I take my son all the time, and there are lots of families come out, whether we're gleaning at a farm and we're doing a farm glean, or a beautiful, orchard somewhere in our beautiful county. You have amazing views and you're outside, you're getting some physical activity, and it's fun, and you're doing something good for the environment and for your community. It's sort of a win-win-win.
It is, and it's such a great thing for kids to learn early on about giving back and maybe helping others, and this is a chance for them to say, I did this, I was a part of this, and gives them a chance to really connect with other people in need. I think that's important.
Yeah.
So I do think that certainly fundraising must come into play here and be a big part of what you do. So let's talk a little bit about that too.
Yeah, so we are a nonprofit organization. We are funded primarily through private donations and foundation grants. We do a variety of fundraising events throughout the year. We have a mid-year campaign, an end-of-year campaign. We have fundraising events throughout the year to raise funds. So we're always looking for ways to fund our operations. If you think about it, the biggest piece to our operations are our donors, really, because the homes that provide this produce, or the property owners and the farmers who donate, they do get a tax deductible receipt from us, a letter saying how many pounds they've donated, and so some of this can act as an offset for costs for them. So I lost my train of thought. Sorry.
Well, I think it's really important because a lot of times, even just driving through areas, you see a lot of fruit on the ground. And I always wondered, what happens to all that? And why is it there? Why can't somebody pick it up and donate it? So this is a great thing that you're doing, because this shows how much all of that waste can be now turned into somebody, helping somebody else with that. And I think that's a really important thing.
Yeah, Ventura County is I think the 11th most productive agricultural county in the nation.
Right.
So we definitely have an agricultural community here. I think there's a variety of reasons why the farmers choose to donate, whether they didn't get a good price from one of their buyers, maybe the fruit is a little small, out of size. All of this is still edible. We've talked about, I don't know if you've ever heard about the ugly fruit and things like that.
Right.
If you go to Whole Foods, you want to have the top dollar beautiful. And so that stuff is definitely being sold on the market, and there's lots and lots and lots of produce that's left in the fields or that doesn't go to market for a variety of reasons. And so that's the idea of connecting this huge abundance to the organizations that can get it out.
But it's still healthy, it's still good, and it can go to some great use, so why not? I mean, I think that makes perfect sense. What about, do a lot of stores donate on a regular basis?
So we tend not to work with stores. We're primarily working with the agri community. We're a just-in-time model. We're taking that food fresh from the field or from the market and taking it to our receiving agencies. We work with a variety of receiving agencies, from large to small, like you're probably very familiar with Food Share in our county, Moore Park Catholic Charities, Ventura Catholic Charities. So we work with a lot of food pantries, and then they obviously are the ones that are getting a variety of foods from various grocery stores or wholesale or whatever, and so we augment their fresh produce with these donations.
So at an event, let's say you have families that do come and would like to enjoy some of this fruit and food that you have available. How is that done? Is there an event that they come to, or how basically will that work for many families?
Well, if people are coming to volunteer, we encourage them to taste the fruit, obviously,
Good.
because it's
Okay.
an amazing experience to pick
Sure.
something right off the tree and eat it. A lot of times when we're picking, there are the fruit gets damaged in some way. It falls off the tree and the skin is cracked. So there's always leftover fruit even when we're picking, and we encourage our volunteers to take that with them, and they get to take that home. And we talk to them a lot about how to properly pick fruit and use the equipment. We use pickers that can be extended and go up to about 25 feet. We do use ladders on occasion, but not often. We have harvest bags that are kind of like even used in the professional industry. So everybody gets an opportunity to really get their hands dirty and learn about how does food make it from the field to our plate.
Right. Tell us about the future of Food Forward and where you think things are going to be going from here now.
It seems as though we're going to just keep growing.
Yeah.
We've developed some interesting new partnerships. Like, for instance, in response to the Thomas Fire, we were able to hook up with World Central Kitchen and provide them with produce while they were serving the first responders, which was a great connection. And in response to that, we've been doing these pop-up farmers markets. So we piloted some of this with See Me at the Garden, and we did some events over the last few months. And during those events, we served about 800 families and 10 receiving agencies with 28,000 pounds of produce that came from the LA market and a little bit from our farmers market. And we had a great response. People from the community were like, "What do you mean this is free produce? I'm allowed to just take this?" And so we're doing pop-ups here in Ventura as well. We're calling them pop-up markets. And so they're an opportunity to help people who have who want to have access to this fresh produce, but we otherwise can't get it to them. It's an opportunity for us to broaden our networks with what's coming out of LA and our wholesale partners. So it's a great opportunity to get everybody involved and everybody fed and reduce that food waste.
Absolutely. Do you work in partnership with any of the schools, in getting kids involved through some of the schools in the area?
Certainly, we do provide educational opportunities. We're piloting an education program down in LA, but I mean, I've gone out to several classrooms and provided them opportunities. We have lots of schools private schools and other types of schools that will come and do service projects. Lorena High School is one that comes to mind. A lot of their students come out and volunteer with us. And we also sometimes we provide, as long as our food is going to out to the community that needs it for free. So we have donated some of our produce to some of the local schools in the area as well.
How nice. That's a big plus too. I think that certainly reaching your goal mark is always a big thing for the organization. Are there big goals for the coming year now too as well?
I think so. I think the thing that I love about Food Forward at the heart of the organization is to do things well and to really always reevaluate whether we're on task and on mission. So I don't know that there's big plans to take over, expand or do anything. Really, it's more about continuing to do what we do and do it well and do it with heart. It always goes back to the three parts to our mission, which is to fight hunger in our communities, to reduce food waste, and to build community. So I think those are the biggest things that we always are looking at, is increasing those relationships that we have with our donors, our farmers, our volunteers, and everybody who comes out to support us.
And that's important. For our viewers that are very interested in participating as a volunteer, or perhaps getting some of this abundance of fruit and food that you have, let's talk about the website and where they would go for more information.
Certainly. So here in Ventura County, we do have a phone number that folks can call. It's 805-630-2728. They can leave a message for us if they don't like to use the internet, and that's fine. And we do have a lot of folks that call that way. And that's if you want to donate fruit or if you want to get involved volunteering. And if you're interested in donating fruit, it's great for us to know a little bit about what kind of fruit you have, and maybe tell us a little about that. And then it takes us about 10 days to get volunteers lined up to come out. We also offer volunteers or homeowners an opportunity to do what we call a DIY pick. So if they have a small amount of fruit, we can just provide them with the equipment that they need and then hook them up with an agency that's in their neighborhood.
Nice too. That's
yeah,
great.
That's great. So foodforward.org is the website. If you
Okay.
type in your zip code and you say you want to volunteer, it will populate a host of events that happen throughout the week and the weekend that are all throughout the zip code
Right.
for you to get involved.
Well, let's get Ventura Forward to join Food Forward and move on to bigger and better things.
Definitely.
Thank you so much, Jill Santos, for joining us today on the show. I hope this will reach a lot of people and get them involved too.
I'm excited. Thank
Good.
you, Sandra.
Thank you so very much. And thank all of you for joining us today on Our Ventura TV. I'm Sandra Siepak. I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye, everyone.